Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, I'm a little under the weather, but nonetheless, let us continue with the Nike Run Club. In this video, we'll talk about how to add Redux. So what is Redux? What is the best use of it? Why do we need this library? And then we will see how we can integrate Redux into our application. You will see how reusable, easy, and clean our code becomes once we make use of Redux. And now at the end, we'll also see how to make best use of Redux hooks, that is use selector, use dispatch, use store. We'll see all of that in this video. Also, if you're new here, hi, I'm Nakul Bageja. On this channel, I talk about how to create production level applications using React Native. If you're interested in this, do check out all the previous projects that we have built as a community. And now let us get back to this video. Alright guys, so before going ahead, I wanted to tell you about this fix that I made for the pace calculations. So you can check out this calculation that I've committed on GitHub. It will be much easier for me to make you understand what all changes I've made. That is why I'm showing it on GitHub so that you can see the deletion and the updation what I've done. So starting with the calculate pace function, which is in the calculation.js file. First of all, since the hours, minutes, and sections were written like this, they were taking only the strings. So they were just taking 00, 001, 02, 03, like that. But we want only the integer value of that. So whenever we were adding these values from here, it was just directly. I will just open my console and show it to you. So what was happening before was if the hours and minutes were like this and they were getting added, so it was adding like this, right? But I don't want like that. So if I can zoom in, I will just show you. I will just remove my, yeah, you can see it over here that it is adding like a string, but I don't want that. We want like it to add like integers, right? So we can do parse int for this, and similarly parse int for the other one. I will just this. Alright, so it should be like this. We should take the integer values of both of them, of both the values, and then add it. But before it was adding just the strings of those. That is why it was coming wrong. Next, we move on to this was one thing that I did for both hours, minutes, and seconds. Next was that I changed the math.floor for the calculated pace. So if you can see that I also changed the pace variable. I changed from calculated pace to pace, as calculated pace was coming in was similar to the function name also, so it was kind of misleading. So I just removed the math.flow from here and just did the normal division by time elapsed divided by the distance. This was all for this function, that is calculate pace. I will just tell you why I did that. Next, we'll move on to the pace presentation. So if you see, we want the pace to be shown like this. That is why we have this function. So inside of this, so we have what we have done is that we have added this. The pace minute is the same as before, but the pace second has changed now. Alright, so the pace second is the pace %1. So I will just open and I will just remove this. So for example, if our pace is 12.01, right, 12.12, so mass.floor will give us the minutes from this. So I will just do mass.floor on this. So we get 12 minutes, that is fine. But now we want the seconds to be only 12 seconds, right? 12 into 60. So that should be our total seconds. But before it was happening something else. I will just do change that also. 1 second. Let me just open this again. Yeah. So before it was happening was we were just multiplying the minutes by 60 and then divided by 100. So that would be 12 into 60. All right, and divided by 1000, right? So this is coming like this, 0.72, and we were just taking uh, the integer value from this. That is wrong because we have 12. The main value of was 12.12. So there is 12.12 seconds. So we should multiply this by 60. First you should take out this value, the 12 value, and multiply it by 60. Then it will come out to be the right number of seconds. So if I just show you 12.12 percentage 1, this will give us 0.1. We can just fix this by doing 2 fixed 1 point decimal over here. Alright, so we get 0.1 seconds and we multiply this by 60. So we get 6 seconds of that, right? So this is the correct value of the whole pace that we want. So at the end will come out to be 12 by 6, 12 minutes 6 seconds. It will come out like this. So this is the right one and not what was coming before. So I hope you make changes of this so that we can move ahead with the correct values. And if I just wanted to show you one more thing. So basically what I've done in the running page also is that I have, let me just close it because all the calculation part is done. Yeah. So we now start with the running page. So I have added a new use state, that is the average pace, and change the pace state to the current pace. So my concept now is like I want to show only the current pace of that particular 30 seconds gap that we are calculating the distance or calculating the pace, right? So before, what was happening is we were showing the average pace from the time 0 till the time like for example 3 minutes or 4 minutes. From time 0 to time 3 minutes we were showing the average pace of that. But I feel like for my application, what I want is I want to show the person's average pace for every 30 seconds by which we are calculating the distance travel in that 30 seconds, and I want to show the current pace of that 30 seconds. So for that I've changed it to the current pace, the state, and in our calculations, in our this function, watch position function, I have removed this total pace, the total pace how we were calculating it, and I have just added set current pace of, like, this is one inline function only. So we are calculating the calculate pace by the new distance and new time. So always new time will be 30 seconds. You can make it static also, but since the new distance will be dynamic, so I've written this like that, and at the end we just want the pace presentation. But for the average pace, this is the pace that we want to show at the whenever the person pauses or at the end of the run. So when I'm pausing the run, I want to show the person, the user, what was his average pace throughout the run, and not the current pace for that 30 seconds. So I'm maintaining that state also by calculating the total distance and by giving the total distance and total time to the calculate pace function. So this was all that I have added to this program until now, and you can add this average pace, you can add the current pace value to the running page, UI, and the average page should be added at the end, where we are sending these values as props to the pause page. So these were some changes that I have done in this application. I hope you are able to understand this. You can remove this playground.js file. It is not needed. It was just something I have used for making, for calculating or testing the changes that I have done. I will also show you how we can use playground.js file for testing, rather than just using a mobile phone for testing. Alright, these were the changes. Now let us get back to what we were doing before. Alright guys, so let us move ahead. So now we will be adding Redux to our application. So going back to our slides, so I have added the command with which we can add Redux and React Redux. We want to add both of these packages. I've added documentation link for the React Redux. Here you can see how we have installed it, and they will also give some steps to integrate it. Then we have hooks. I've also given the separate link for React hooks that we will be using. All of these: use selector, use dispatch. These are the two ones that we will be using majorly. And let's get started with installing this now. Copying this and stopping the server. Now we will be making the, I hope you have some clue or some knowledge of how Redux works. It is not completely linked to React Native, so it is basically a state persisting layer or a package with which we can, whenever we are moving from one page, say for example we are in the running page, then we are going to a pause page, right? Like I showed you last time, we want to persist the state, we want to save the state, but when we are moving from one page to another, the state is emptied. It is not storing it anywhere. We are not storing it anywhere in a local storage or anything. So we use Redux to maintain that state. So you can learn more about it on there are many various videos out there on YouTube. If you want me to make one video of explaining how Redux works from the deep end, from in detail, I will also make that. If you want, you can comment in the comments below. I will make the video. Alright, so moving ahead, so I think it is installed. Let me just rerun the application. In the meantime, we will have our stores set up. So not over here. We want to add a store in the source folder. We will have the reducer, and in the store we will have one more thing, that is our actions. So reducer will contain an index.js file. This will have an initial state. Initial state right now will be an object, so let us keep it a blank object for now. And we will have a const reducer which will have state, that is the initial state, and state is equal to initial state, and we have actions. So this is one function, and this reducer will return the state to the person calling this function. And then we will export this reducer, export default reducer. Alright, so I will add some comments over here. Reducer, main reducer. Alright, we will have only one reducer for this application, main reducer for Redux. Alright, and in our actions we will also have one file, that is index.js. This will have various names. So we will have names, and then we will have action functions. I will, as soon as we go ahead, I will tell you more how these work. Now once action and reducers are set up, we will go to our app.js file. Over here we will create a parent for main navigation, that is a provider which comes from React Redux. Inside of this you will give a main navigation, and now we will create we can say main store for Redux. This is the same one as we made it over here. So this store will contain the initial state of our reducer. So for that we need to link it up. So we can add const store is equal to create store, and this will contain the reducer that we made. Alright, and we'll give the provider a store. So yeah. I'm sure nothing will break as of now. Let me once see. Yeah, this should be const initial state. Yeah, everything is working fine. Alright, we have set up our Redux store application. So let me just show you a few things in our documentation. So there's also one link in the documentation that you can refer to. I will only be making use of Redux as much as it is required for our application. If you want a detailed explanation of how Redux works and how Redux Hooks works, you can comment in the comments below and I will explain and make that video. Alright, so this is not one. So let us go ahead. So in our actions, we want few things to keep in mind when we are in the running page, right? Whenever we are in the running page, we want to get the total time value and the total kilometers value of that particular run which the user has done or has completed till now. So for example, if I open the times part, let me just go ahead and do time. So if you remember last time when we were in the last video, when there was 2 minutes completed and we went to the pause screen and came back, our states were initializing back to these values, to the values that we don't want, that is the initial values, but we want the values which the person has ran already. Alright, so for that we need to have reducer to keep track of what was the initial state of the total time the person has ran, the total kilometers, the average pace. So these three values are the main values that we want to store in our actions, in our state. So for that we will add these values to our state. So let us add total kilometers. So we can make a object only current run. I think that will be much better. Current run is equal to null at the start. We can give current run giving kilometers to 0, time 0, and average pace to be 0, and we'll have one more state. So let me just show you. So when we are first using the application, so for example I logged into the application, I want all of my previous runs to show up. So this will also happen, we will integrate it slowly. So this will happen by taking these values from our database. So we also want to store it in our state while the person is using the application. So we can have previous runs, and this will be an array. So this will be a empty array for now. Alright, these are the initial states. Alright, so let me create few actions and I will let you know how we can do this ahead. Alright guys, so let us first start by adding few actions that you want to take. So first of all, I will list few actions that we want to execute using Redux. First of all would be to save a current run. So whenever we are pausing a run or whenever 30 seconds are passed, we want to save that particular kilometers time in our Redux. So save a current run is one that we want. Next is when we are fetching all the runs that the particular user has ran in while using this application, we want to fetch that. So fetch all previous runs. Then would be to when we want to save a run to DB, to database, that is one. And I think these will be all. Let me just note this. Yeah, I think these three are the ones that we want. Yep. Okay. Alright, so we want to have these three actions for our Redux. So I will show you what we want to do now. So first of all, you will have I will just write it down first. So save, I'm doing for the first one right now, save a current trend, then we will move forward for fetching and saving to database. So save current trend is equal to a string of this. You will get to know why I'm doing this when we are making the reducer. And we want a function for save a current run. This will contain the data, that is an object which will have similar to this kilometers and time. We had average pace over here, but I think we don't want that average pace. We just require kilometer and time, so you can remove that. Then we'll have, and we will return from this by giving an object which will have one property type, that is save current run and data. So this function will be called by the dispatcher of Redux. Like if I just open it on my, just open that, show it in the documentation only. Alright, so I think we will make use of hooks, that is the use dispatch. The dispatcher will return the stores method. The stores methods are these methods only. So these are the method that it returns, so we will execute them. So whenever we are executing a particular function, right, of Redux, we will have to give an object of type save current of object which will have a property type, and we can give some or the other data with it. So let me just make use of it in the reducer, then it will be much more understandable for you guys. So whenever we are, so if you see in the reducer, we have a state which is controlling which has the initial state as a property, as an argument, and we have actions. So these actions are nothing but these actions. So this is the one action that we have done. So save current run. These are the actions that we are performing, and these are the only actions that are given to the reducer function. So whenever we are making of any action in the reducer, you will have a switch case which will contain all the action types. Yeah. So a switch case will have various the switch case will have various cases, which will have cases of just like save current run. Then we will have fetch all previous runs, then saving to DB, all of these types. So we are making use of actions.type. This is a property that we have set it over here. So now you will understand much better why I have written this save current run. So if you think if I had written it like this only, save current run like this, sorry, and then writing it like this again inside of case. So in some way, if you have multiple cases, and there's a possibility that you will have made some error in writing the case string, right? So to reduce or to eliminate that the edge case or the fault that can happen in the future, we are making use of, we are already making actions over here and exporting them. So we can directly import these actions over here. So we can just do from actions index and have save current run. So this is the action type that we have used, and we can directly go for it. So this will make it much more easy to use and less fault, and making it fault tolerant, right? So alright, this is done. So now what is happening is, for example, I have dispatched this function, right? This action I have dispatched, which has type save current run and has some data. So whenever I call dispatch and perform this function, this action, it will come to the reducer over here. This reducer will check what action type has been called, and it will see that save current run type is the same as over here. I will just rectify this, yeah. So then it will undergo and perform all the functions or all the commands that are written in this case statement. Alright, so first of all, let us just have a console.log to just see if it is working fine or not. Saving current run. Cool. So whenever we are dispatching this action, we will see console.log of saving current run in our server over here. Alright, so let us make changes to our running page and then you will see. Alright, so now we are in our running page. So over here we will make use of the hooks that I showed you before. We have three hooks, that is use dispatch, use selector, and that at the end we have use store. We will majorly use dispatch and use selector. Use selector is used to get the values of the states. So over here you can see if the state of mine has a counter value, we can select the value using use selector. And use dispatch is used to execute all the functions that we have in the Redux store. So these are the functions that we have already made. This is the function. So we will be making use of hooks to make it much more easier. So let me just import use dispatch from React Redux. We will initialize it over here, const dispatch, yeah, shortcuts, nothing to be given, and we will also import all our actions from here. So rather than selecting one like save current run and everything, we can do one thing. You can also try this: import star, that is import everything as actions. So I'm importing this save current run function, this action name as actions from, like, and everything will be the same, store action and index. Alright, so now everything is inside of actions. Rather than giving one everything like this, we can also do it like that. It is your choice. I am just using it like this. You can also do it like this by calling each thing one by one or mentioning each thing. Alright, now what you want to do is we want to dispatch this function every 30 seconds, or every time this watch position runs, we want to dispatch this and save our total time value and total. We want to save the total distance and the total time that is coming out from each that is getting calculated. Alright, now let us dispatch the function, that the action that we have made over here after every 30 seconds. So I will just write some comments. Dispatching save current run action every 30 seconds. Alright, you will have a dispatch. We will call the dispatch variable or object that we have created over here. Alright, so we'll have dispatch over here. We will call the actions dot save current run function, and we have to give a data which will have kilometers, which will give total kilometers, total distance, and time, which will have a total time. Alright, let us refresh and see if it is working. Let us start a run. As you saw that once our run started, it is showing save current run. So our dispatch is working fine. So it is taking this function and it is dispatching, and that dispatch function has come over to the switch function, which has taken case of save current run, and it has printed console of saving current run. Alright, now that we have made use of dispatch function to dispatch our action, now let us see if we are able to get the values of the correct values of the state that we have written over here. We'll make use of use selector hook that we have mentioned or we have talked about over here. So we will make use of this by modifying the code that we have already written. So I will just comment this out and also comment this out. So over here we will have two variables of total time. This will get the values of the total time of the current run. So we can do this by state dot current run dot time. Similarly, we will have for total distance, and over here you will have kilometer. To make it much better, let us give it also distance over here rather than kilometers. Yeah, so over here also we will have distance. Okay, so I think we are good. We can try this out now. So we will comment this out also because we are not making use of use state. I will just do a console.log over here to print out the values of total distance and time. Total distance, total time. And since we are making this to the state, we'll have to make some changes down here. For the timing, let us do 0 and also this 0. I know this is a little bit of reworking of already written code, but as we go along, this usually happens if you want to change something, if you want to configure something. These things happen when you're making an application. So let us try this out on our mobile phone. So let me just close this application, restart it once again. This console.log of our location. Alright, so let us go for time. Alright, saving current run. This is the value of total distance and total time. Let us wait for a minute. Then we will check if it is working fine when we are going to the pause page at 1 minute. I pause my run at 1 minute, and then I'm coming back, resuming it. So it should start from 1 minute only. This feature was not working when we were not using Redux. Now that we have added that, it should work. If it doesn't, then we will see what is the error. Okay, one more cycle left. Right, let us see if it is working right or not. I will just pause this over here and come back again. Yeah, we are again and we are starting from the point that we left off, that is 0 distance and 60 seconds, that is 1 minute. Well, this is cool, this is working fine, that we have added Redux to our application. We can remove few things and work around what we want. So let me just remove these comments altogether. We can also remove this, or we can give some comments like getting total time and distance covered in previous run from Redux store. Alright, this is cool. Now I'll be making these props over here. And yeah, alright, this is okay. What Redux helps us to do is, like, we can minimize, or we can we can reduce, or we can eliminate the use of props, that is sending values from one component to another. We can do it easily by making use of Redux store, by dispatching the state and using it using use selector. We can minimize this also by having a target value as we can reduce this by making use of Redux, and we can eliminate or reduce these values from here, that is the progress, average pace, etc. So let us see what all we can reduce. So we can eliminate total time and kilometers from here, and few things also. So we don't want time, so we can remove this. So just cleaning up a little bit of the code so that it is much more readable and understandable easily. So we have average pace over here. We don't want average pace. We don't want to keep a state to maintain the average pace over here, because it is just something that we're calculating using total time and distance. We can definitely do that in our pause page also. So I will remove this state from here and also remove it from here. We just want the total current pace like this to show the pace, that is the pace that comes over here, and we are already showing the metric value, so this is all right. Just reducing some of the code, and let us see what else we can remove. So we don't want time and kilometers from here. We can remove that. We can remove average pace also. Calories we have not calculated yet, so we can do that once everything is over. All right, I've just done that, saved it. Now let us move on. I think we have covered all the points. How to persist state when coming back from the pause screen, we have done that. Recalculating the pace, we have done that. So let us remove all of this and now move on to our pause screen. So in our pause screen, we are getting time. We are not getting now the time kilometers from this params, and not even getting the pace. We're just getting the calorie and percentage. So let us remove this from here and remove this. So what we can do is, first of all, call use selector. Not this one, sorry. Import use selector. Yeah. From here we'll get our cons total. What we can do is we can just get the whole object of current run. We can get cons current run, that is use selector and stay in the state we have current run. All right, we are getting the whole object. So over here we can give kilometers from dot distance dot to fixed to be 1. I think this is the right one. I think, yeah, to fixed to be 1. Then we have not calculated calories, so for now. Next we have time. So we have time to be calculated like this. So I will just copy this from here and we will have to import the function. All right, so I've added seconds to the minutes, because in our Redux we are getting the time value as seconds only. So let us import this function from calculations and we will change this to current run dot time. Yeah, now it is only thing is left is pace. So for pace we have all of this, so I will just copy this from here and paste it over here. So for this we will take current distance dot time, put over here, so distance, and current distance dot time. For time, importing calculate pace presentation also. All right, we have done this. Okay, so I think everything is over here. Nothing is left. So if I go over to a pause, once I will have to restart it. Right, starting the run. Let me start for the time. Start, and let us wait for a few seconds, few minute, and then we will be able to see some changes. So after, let us see if this is working, then we will work on getting the latest position on Google Maps. So if you remember, in our pause screen also we have map view, so we want the latest location for the person to be shown, where he is right now and where he has paused the run. Okay, let us wait. All right, so let us pause this. We didn't get it right. Let us see why. In our pause screen we have current run like this. I think I will have to close this and start once again. It should have come. I will just console.log over here also. Time. Alright, time it is starting. It is coming right now. So if you see, I just printed out the current run, that is 0, and it is showing distance like this, pace like this, so it is working fine. So we are getting the presentation also, so it will work fine. So I will just keep it running for now. In the meantime, we can work on getting the latest location for the user. So let us see what will be the optimal and most concise way of getting that. Alright, so the best way to get the current location will be to use our function of get current location, get current position by geolocation. I did try to make this reusable by converting into another hook and making the same code, using the same code in different places, but that won't work because it takes few seconds to get the current position, and in the meantime our page gets rendered quickly, so it will not go and call the same hook again if it is in the another page or another component. It has been made reusable, so we will have to make use of the same code once again in our pause screen. So I will just use that over here. So let me just put it over here. Let get, we can change this name to get current location. All right, this is an import geolocation. Has it? No, it has not been imported. Let me just import it from here. Import, and we should also import toast and these two also. So putting it over here and toast has already been used. Okay, so remove this. All right, and we need to call this function as soon as we are in focus, so making use of the same navigation way that we have used in many times before. So making a use effect, importing use effect. So navigation we have already imported. All right, add listener for focus and get location, get current location. So we'll call this function as soon as we are here, and we need a state to get the to get the latest position. We need to save it somewhere. At first it will be null. All right, so this is done, and we will also just copy few things over here. I'm just taking all of this because it is majorly similar to what we have. in a pause screen. So getting it, copy. So it is over here, giving it a region and having the same latitude and longitude over here also. Cool. So this is done. I think we will get the latest position now. Let us pause and see. Okay, we'll get some error at the start. Yeah, I have not imported use state. Importing that. Alright. Start and pause. Cool. Now we are getting the latest location on our pause screen also. That is nice. Let me just go back. Yeah. While it is starting, we have done this. The first part has been done. Next is whenever we are stopped. So let us first, before going to the second point, let us first check that if there any unnecessary code, we can remove that. We can remove this console. We can remove this console also. Close this for a second. Next. I'm just going through the whole code once so that we can see if there is any duplicacy or any code that we can minimize. That will be great. Removing this console. So also just remove all consoles right now. Or there is one more way that we can remove the consoles when we are going to the production site. But I think it is much better to remove it altogether beforehand only. So this is done. You can do one more thing if you don't want to send the progress as a prop to the pause screen. You can also add it to the current run state over here, and you can do that. I just think this is much easier and I will go for it right for the time being. We will calculate calories as soon as we are done with the page, because it takes few other things that we need to calculate. So we'll have to make a profile page for calculating calories, because calories requires us to have the weight of the person, the height of the person, and add that. Using those values, we will have a formula with which we can calculate calories. So if we have time or we want to continue with this application, we can add calories also. So we can see for 2 minutes this is working good, and we are getting the latest location also. So this is nice. So I think we are done with this page also. Stuff it is done. If you think we can improve in any way in any page, do let me know. Since I've just saved it has returned back to 0. I'll just start the application once more. Alright, so this is cool. Yeah, so we will have problems if we send these values as this, so we can remove this. We'll make use of Redux very efficiently as we go for the activities page also. We'll add Redux to that also. First let us complete this. We can remove kilometers, average pace, time. Just for the time, let us put 0 so that we can try it out. Alright, so now let us go ahead and add the Redux to our going to add a Redux to our pause page. So what we are going to do is, when we are stopping the run, we want to save the run in our Redux store in the previous run. So it should be at the top, because the current run is the latest one. So it should be at the top of every previous runs. and we should also simultaneously save it to our database. So that will be done simultaneously. And when we are shifting or when we are moving from pause page to our summary screen, we want to send the index of that particular run. So obviously, since we are pushing the current run at the top, so the index will be 0. So we just right now what we are doing is we are sending everything as the values for the so let me just show you what we're doing right now. Yeah, so we are giving everything as an object. We are sending everything as an object. We don't want to do that. We just want to send them as a index. All right, so let me just go back a little. We are going to create a save run function. So right now over at the bottom, I have given more. Yeah, so before we had this all of this code, we were starting with the long press, and we will have all of resetting the navigation to index 1 and everything. But now we will have much more code, since we will dispatch a function and action from the pause screen to save the run to our database and to the Redux store. So first of all, let us create a new action that will be export const save run to db. All right, so this will have same as that one. I will copy paste. We will have one more new function that is export const save run to db. This will also have data with it. So I'm giving some comments that this function will saving the current run to db and updating previous run array in Redux store. Right, so right now we will just be updating the previous run array that we had made before. So this, let me just change the name. Yeah, previous run. All right, so we will return type save run to db, and the data will be data. Cool. So we can just do it like data also. Yeah, cool. So this is done. We have added that. Now we will, in the reducer, we need to add the same. We will need to create something. We need to add a new switch case for this new action that we have made. So we'll import this first, save run to db, and a new case will be there, save run to db. So what we want to do is we want to put the current array or the current run at the top. So for that we will make use of state dot previous run dot unshift. Unshift is a function which pushes the element at the start of the array, as you can see in the description. So we will put the data actions dot data at the start, and we'll also put a break statement. Cool. So break statement is a must, because if we don't put it, so for example, if we are just saving the current run, it will also go to the save run to db also. It will run if we are starting from this run and we don't have a break statement. So this case will also run, then this case will also run. So it will keep on going on until we have a break statement. What break statement does that when we apply this, and if we are in the first case and it is done, so it will go out of the switch case and it will just return the state to us. All right, so we are done with our reducer and actions. So now what we want to do is add the save run function in our pause screen. So let me remove all of this and put save run. save run function. We'll create a save run function over here. So giving some comments functions to save run to Redux store and db, also moving to pause or summary screen. Yeah, good. So I will just create a function save run, and over here we need to use dispatch, so let us import that first. We have used dispatch, so we'll initiate use dispatch over here. Dispatch this, yeah, and inside of this you will have dispatch dot dispatch, and then creating all of our actions using the same way that we did for the running page. So import star as actions from store slash actions index, and over here we will have actions dot save run to db, and we'll have the same object as before. So I will just take my notes and put it. So this is the same thing as we did for reset. So I will just also get the reset one. Alright, this was the code that we were using before to navigate to our summary screen. So we are just taking the whole object from here to putting it in our Redux store by dispatching this function, this action. So this is cool. Now we have done both of these things. We can now test that. If you see over here that I have removed average pace from this, because I don't think it is useful, because we only need time and the total time and kilometers to calculate the average pace, like we did in the pause screen. We'll do the similar thing in our summary screen also. Right now, since we are first testing the dispatch, I have written it like that. So I will just create a new variable over here, that is const runs, that is use selector first state dot state dot previous runs. I think that is the right name. So I'm just testing it if it is coming right or not, and we'll just console.log the runs. And let's let us close the and restart our application once again. All right, so let me just start. This is the basic one. Basic running page is starting now. So let me just pause it right away. So right now it is 0, so no previous run is stored. So let me just store this, saving. All right, it is saved now, hopefully, like we did in the code. We can start a new run, and let me just pause it right away and press spacebar. All right, cool. So if you can see, the previous run has a new run saved in it. That is the last run that we had saved using this pause stop button. This is the run, so it is showing calories because we have not given anything. The day is by using our get day name. Kilometer is always obviously 0 because we stopped it as soon as we started. The time of day, and total kilometer is static, like we have given over here. All right, so This is good. We have done this. Now obviously there are many things that we can improve in this. First, like small details of the total kilometers and calories, but right now I'm focusing on integrating Redux to the whole application. So now that we have done the for the pause screen, we will obviously have one more. We will make few lines of code when we are saving this to our actual database. Right now it is just moving in a UI, or you can say the React Native, because whenever what is happening right now is, if I right now, since if you see that there is one run saved in a Redux store, but Redux store is only available till the time that our application is running. If I close this application and start it once again, our previous run will be empty. Our Redux store will initialize to the our state will initialize to the initial state that we are 0, no runs over here, everything like that. Just restart. So obviously we need to save these to our actual database. Right now I'm just making our whole UI dynamic and adaptable. So the functions to add or functions to post our runs will be much easier, as we'll make use of Firebase, or we will create our own database using MongoDB. So if I just show you in our, yeah, so as you can see, it is empty right now because it was just the life cycle of the Redux store is only till the time your application is on your mobile phone. Alright, this is done. Pretty nice. Now we can move forward by, I will just, what, something happened? No, okay. So I will just add some comments for you to understand that there will be more code over here. Code coming for saving runs to DB, that is Firebase or MongoDB. You can let me know which database you would like me to use, either Firebase or MongoDB. We can I can use either of them. Alright, so this is done. Now what we want to do is, we want to the first 2 points are done. We want to now send the index of the particular run to the pause screen. So we need to make the pause screen adaptable to that feature. Yeah, where we are just sending the index. Right now it will expect all the properties. So we are using time of day. It is expecting everything to come like this, but we want to send only an index. So now we will see how we can change the summary page by just giving them an index, and then he fetches all the properties of that particular run. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, then do hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel to see more of this content. And if you think I can improve in any way, do tell me in the comments below, and do share these videos with your friends and peers who are the developers and are trying to make production level application using React Native. I'm trying to create as much content as I can every week, and I hope you find this useful. All of the applications that we are creating has been posted to the GitHub repository of this channel. I will just showcase that to you. So this is the GitHub repository that I've made for this channel, and the community name that I have given to you people like you and me, are React Natives. If you think this name is quite good, then please let me know in the comments below. And if you think we can give much better name, also tell me that.